Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Paul Lango, presenter, and Mr. David Lusignan, class of '94, to please step forward and be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to introduce you to Dave Lusignan. I've known Dave for over 25 years. He lived across the street from my parents on Morris Street. And by the way, Morris Street has a pretty neat distinction. Dick Avery in the first class of Hall of Fame, Mr. William Pulse, a couple years ago, Hall of Fame, myself, Hall of Fame, and now Dave. So we have 4 people from Morris Street that are on the Hall of Fame. So I would see Dave almost every day. I go to my parents and I see Dave outside, this spindly kid, and I would talk to him, my dad would talk to him, and we would say, you know, Dave, how about coming out for track or for cross country? And he's kind of thinking about it. So one day, I'm coming out for cross-country practice, and who's walking around the corner but Dave. And that began what would become the Hall of Fame career of one of the finest distance runners at Bartlett High School. And I should know, I've been there 40 years. Dave was on the cross-country team for 5 years, captain during his sophomore, junior, senior years. In those years, his team compiled a record of 50 wins, 15 losses. During that time, Dave placed first for the team 40 times, placed overall first 24 times. His junior year was nothing short of remarkable. We had a great team that year. We went 16-0. We went up to the Wachusett Invitational. We won Class C. And Dave placed 7th individually. He was a Border Conference All-Star from his freshman through his senior year. And in the senior year, and if I'm not mistaken, the last race of his career, on our Memorial Beach course, he was only the second Bartlett runner in 14 years of running that course to break the magical 15-minute barrier, placing him 19th overall out of over 1,700 runners who had run that course before him. Dave ran track his 8th grade year through his senior year. He was a great runner, not so good shot putter. In that span, we had 4 undefeated teams. 1990, 1992, 1993, 1994. 2 of those teams went on to win the district Class C championships. Dave specialized in running the 3,200, 1,600, 800. His best event was the 3,200 meter. He won the Border Conference title 3 times, placed 2nd once. His best year was his junior year, where he was entered into 15 events, placed 1st in 12 of them. Dave placed 4th in the 3,200 meters at the districts, setting a school record of 10:20.4, a record that still stands today. He was selected the Border Conference All-Star his freshman through his senior year. Dave was also a student athlete, graduating 8th in his class, and was a member of the National Honor Society. Dave continued his running after high school. He has participated in 17 marathons, 4 triathlons. He's also a member of Team Hoyt, running races while pushing athletes with disabilities in wheelchairs. Dave is the director of Maxwell Health. He and his wife Jessica reside in Woodstock, have 2 children, Maeve and Caleb. And at this time, it gives me great pleasure to say, will Dave Lusignan, class of 1994, please come forward to be introduced into the Bartlett High School Athletic Hall.
thank you, everybody. Thank you to the committee especially for having me, and nominating me, having me in. One of the things I think is interesting about all of this, before I get started with running, is actually basketball that got me started into sports, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to fast forward to 10 years old so that we don't stay all night. But anyway, got a hoop up from my dad. He got me going into it. I remember going to Coach Cushing's summer leagues at the athletic field and summer camps that were put on as well, and really enjoying the game. Played it hours and hours on end, and thought that was going to be the thing I'd do for who knows how long. And something happened between those earlier years and my mid-high school years where there was a mention of, hey, you should go and do cross country. It's a great way to get yourself into, get your running legs for basketball. I said, okay. And then, sure enough, a friend of mine on the team was running by at the end of the first week of my 8th grade year, and I was playing basketball outside. And I said, what are you doing? And I heard about this and said, okay, I've connected the dots, I'm going to go do this. And my mom had just bought a nice new pair of blacktop Converse sneakers because we just started school, and I remember going for that first run with the team, not officially on the team, just trying it out. And I was hooked, and Coach said, you're going to need a new pair of shoes. And I said, okay. Went to my mom, said, Mom, got a new pair of shoes? She's like, what? You just got a new pair of shoes. What in the world is this? So that's how I got started with running. And as I grew, it turned out I started playing young enough where I was throwing the basketball more like a shot put. And I had absolutely no backspin on that ball. And I went an exceptional amount of time, I went all the way through my sophomore year playing basketball with a spinless throw. There was not a single shot that I ever remember, despite hours of laying on the back of the bed, doing everything these guys told me to do. It just did not work. It was spinless. It was just, you just saw the black line on that ball go all the way up to the rim, and maybe make it, maybe not. So anyway, the running kept going, loved it, and along the way I learned a lot more about running than just the running itself. There was the rest of what the sports, just the way sports worked in the school was a little bit different than I ever expected it to be. The thing that stuck out for me in a different way, not knowing some of these way these teams worked, is these captains of teams, usually the most senior or talented kids on the teams, those were the ones that kind of led off what was going to happen. They would start practices a couple of weeks before the official season started to get us kind of in the motion of it all. And they set a tone and gave you a sense of how to act and think about what you're doing and put a serious face onto the sport and whatever that sport was. And I really took that in, and I saw it just carry straight on, and the coaches were absolutely fanatical about how you should act. I remember a particular instance in a basketball game where a kid had not done something the way he should have, and he got sent to the bench, and he mentioned something to the coach, and he was, for 30 seconds, just absolutely torn to shreds about his mouthing back. And that institution was teaching that kid the right way to act, the right way to play, the right way to think about the game. And I remember my turn as a captain and having a similar situation happen where a peer of mine, a senior, wasn't really too sure about how to seriously take captain's practice and started fluffing off in our drills. And I remember talking to one of my other co-captains and said, he's got to do it or he's not going to play. And we confronted him with it, and he sure enough said, maybe I shouldn't play. And I said, it's up to you. And he decided to continue. And I remember thinking to myself, the way this place works, it works with that kind of institution. And when you have it, you do the work the right way, and you know, it's kind of before just do your job became a fad. You know, you've heard of that before, I'm sure. It was already in Bartlett for a long, long time. And I'm just, you know, another quote I can recall Coach Lango putting out there was, "Don't be stupid." And being kind of the Forrest Gump of the team, you know, I was kind of, you know, the popular thing now is stupid as the stupid does. So I think we had a lot of things figured out well before the movies did, and I'm grateful for what I've been taught. You know, on top of that, I just want to reflect on just a couple other folks that are already in this room that have gotten their awards. Sean was a tremendous athlete that I remember very well, and watching him run around the track with Gazelle for his events. It was truly breathtaking to see that. And to have him be a captain that I was able to look up to before it was my turn, that was really special. And then I remember Mr. Pappas, after we had one of these really successful seasons, sponsoring jackets for the team, which I still remember getting pulled out of a class and having a picture taken with a few of the folks and thinking to myself, wow, you know, to go and do that, it's just fascinating. I mean, to give back, that's just special to me. And then the last thing I remember is your son was on the track team. And in fact, in one of these district relays, we were running 4x800, so we each do a half a mile, and we came in fourth with an 8:58, which means we were averaging just under a 4.5 minute mile collectively as a team. So there's a lot of institution in this building tonight, and I'm glad to be proud to be a part of it. So thank you very much.
Good.